Good day, my friends. Mark Long here again with the series Tomorrow's Truth Found Today. Today we're going to take a little sidestep from our normal episodes and we're going to briefly discuss Christmas. This subject, I know, is undoubtedly going to be difficult for many to hear, let alone to act upon it. But before we get into it, let me pose a question. Has any of you listening ever been caught up in a situation that appeared so enormous that you felt almost helpless, and yet you knew in your heart that you had to take it on anyway? Well, the one here that I'm facing is just like that. We're going to talk about Christmas. Yes, the most cherished time of the year. When I decided to tackle this subject, I felt something akin to the story of David and Goliath. David, in my analogy here, will represent God's truth, and Goliath will represent Christmas. Now, please don't get the idea that I think for any reason that God's truth is small or weak in any way, because that's hardly the truth. Actually, quite the opposite is true. But for me to take on this giant we call Christmas, I know that I'm in fact up against a wall that has been built up in people's minds for hundreds of years. Let me start off by saying this. Please fact check me on everything that I offer here, and please understand that this information is in no way complete or exhaustive. I'm only trying to tickle your curiosity enough for you to look into this for yourself. I know Christmas for most people is the best time of the year. It is literally enjoyed by millions and millions of people around the world. But did you know that there was a time when Christmas was actually illegal in this country? It was in Massachusetts from 1659 to 1681, and it was really punishable by a fine for anyone caught celebrating it. You see, the Puritans felt that Christmas had no religious adherence to the Bible whatsoever. Check it out. It's pretty interesting. Moving on. Many think that December 25th is the birth date of Christ. And that comes to us from tradition, which when you check that out, that also fails miserably. I'm going to venture to say that at least 95% of people have never checked out the history of this not-so-holy holiday. Please don't label me a Scrooge, because I too used to celebrate Christmas just like everyone else. That is until I learned the truth about it. Quite well, my friends, do I remember as a child trying to fall asleep Christmas Eve, knowing that in just a few short hours that Christmas would arrive. I truly did believe that Santa was going to visit our house. The whole thing, the whole idea captivated me. The lights, the tree, and the presents. Oh, how wonderful it all was. Yes, for me as a child, Christmas was a cherished memory. But when I grew up and I studied out this history and all the accoutrements that were associated with it, let's just say it took on a whole different meaning. Most people only want to look at the colors of Christmas and ignore the other side, the darker side of Christmas. The fact that despair rises, suicide is at its highest level of the year, shoplifting peaks, people become despondent, debt increases, self-interests become all-important, greed and vanity mounts up to the point that it stops being something heartwarming and it becomes more of a commercial interest. If you will notice, stores are starting their Christmas merchandising earlier and earlier every year. It is now estimated that up to as much as 50% of store sales comes from Christmas. This, of course, is dependent upon which type of store you're looking at. Here's another little tidbit. You've heard it said, let's put Jesus back into Christmas. Well, that's a very puzzling statement to make, since Jesus has never been part of Christmas. Jesus was not born, my friends, in December. He more than likely was born in the fall, probably late September or early October. Nobody knows the exact date. Now, let's sidestep this idea and look at the Christmas tree and all that goes along with that. Did you know all of that started clear back in ancient Egypt? Check it out. It's very interesting to read, not just to take something away, but to actually learn the truth about it. All that pertains to Christmas, my friends, comes from paganism. Look at what the Bible says about the Christmas tree in Jeremiah 10, 2-5. It says this, do not learn the way of the Gentiles. Do not be dismayed at the signs of heaven, for the Gentiles are dismayed at them. For the customs of the people are futile. For one cuts a tree from the forest, the work of the hands of the workmen with the axe. They decorate it with silver and gold. They fasten it with nails and hammers so that it will not topple. They are upright like a palm tree. They cannot speak. They must be carried because they cannot go by themselves. Do not be afraid of them, for they cannot do evil, nor can they do any good. My friends, the Christmas tree, it comes to us from a time when trees were actually worshipped. And they also worshipped under the groves of trees to their false gods. If you want to look deeper into this, then I suggest going online and typing in simpletoremember.com and read a rather interesting expose called The History of Christmas. It exposes many of the popular myths about Christmas, the Christmas tree, and Christ. You can also learn about Christmas presents, the origin of Santa Claus, and many of the other accoutrements that make up this pagan holiday. You can also just Google the history of Christmas online and find out much, much more, or go to the library and look it up. Check out encyclopedias about the history of Christmas. My friends, for the lack of a better term, Christmas is in fact a lie. Christ was not born December 25th. December 25th was a day for the Jews. They were shamed, tortured, and murdered by the Romans. The Romans had their winter solstice, their pagan holidays that they did. When they turned over to what they called Christianity, they brought with them their pagan beliefs and called them Christian, and decided that Christ should be named to be been born December 25th, which is nothing but a lie. I'm going to venture to say that all there is to know about Christmas and all of its incarnations associated with it is one of the most depraved pagan rituals ever practiced on earth. When you strip away all the painted facades that make up this holiday, you'll see it for what it really is, which is nothing more than a deception of Satan. We're going to learn about that when we read Revelations 12:9, which says this. So that great dragon that was cast out, that serpent of old, called the devil and Satan, who, check this out, deceives the whole world. He was cast out to the earth, and his angels were cast out with him. Understand this. Satan wants you to enjoy Christmas, Easter, Halloween, and all the other pagan holidays that we all celebrate. He doesn't want you to know the truth. He wants you to be deceived. But the flip side of that is what Christ tells us in Matthew 24:4. He said this, take heed that no one deceives you. So the question arises, who do you want to believe? Jesus or Satan? I know that Christmas is fun. I know that the giving and receiving of gifts is a great thing, and there's nothing in the world wrong with it. But don't you think we ought to just give a gift from our heart and not because of some pagan date on a calendar? We shouldn't be doing it because of pagan history. I'm going to close this little essay by quoting 3 scriptures, and then I'll make a short final message. The first one is Matthew 12:36-37. It says this, but I say to you that for every idle word man may speak, he will give an account of it on the day of judgment. For by your words you will be justified, and by your words you will be condemned. The second one is 2 Corinthians 5:10. For we must all appear before the judgment seat of Christ, that each one may receive the things done in the body according to what he has done, whether good or bad. And the final one, there's many more, but the final one we're going to look at today is Romans 14:12. It says, so then each of us will give an account of himself to God. We all, my friends, can fall victim to temptation and to believe that what we do is all for the right reasons. But shouldn't we first learn the history of what it is we want to be part of? I personally learned the history of the truth about Christmas back in 1986. God opened my eyes back then, and I've never looked back. One last thought. The information, which as I said is limited at best, here is only intended to give you enough evidence for you to decide whether to study this out for yourselves or to ignore it altogether. I beg you, my friends, learn and then learn more. Equip yourself with knowledge. Don't allow yourself to be deceived. Endure until the end and you shall be saved. This is Christ's promise. That's Matthew 24:13. The alternative is nothing anyone should even want to consider. Here's a closing concept. Parents get mad at their children when the children lie to them and they get caught. And yet they feel justified when we lie to our children about Christmas, Easter Bunny, Tooth Fairy, all of these things which we think are just cute little stories to tell our kids, but yet they are in fact just lies. So why do we get mad when our kids lie to us? Shouldn't we be the example and tell the truth? Take care, my friends. I know I've given you a bunch to think about, and I'm not trying to cast negative on your life or on anything in this world. I only want to equip you with the truth. May God bless you and keep you always. And please remember, you are worth it. I'll see you next time.